It's a new day here in Washington County. Our neighborhoods are waking up, and they realize that it is time to fight back. The Washington County Anti-Drug Task Force began as an informal coalition of concerned citizens who wanted to be actively involved in preventing alcohol and other drug abuse and consequences related to this abuse in Washington County. In October of 1991, the U.S. Office of Substance Abuse Prevention, OSAP, awarded the Washington County Anti-Drug Task Force a demonstration grant for 5 years. The purpose of the Community Partnership Demonstration Project is to promote the development of long-range, comprehensive, multidisciplinary community-wide drug use and substance abuse prevention planning and programs through the formation and support of a partnership of both public and private organizations, agencies, and institutions within local communities. The partnership is designed and structured primarily as a planning and coordinating body to enhance, promote, and improve effective prevention programs implementation at the local level. Through the help from the State of Mississippi Division of Community Service within the Department of Human Services, Fight Back was brought to Washington County. All citizens of Washington County were encouraged to join this effort. A heavy emphasis was placed on recruiting the youth, perhaps giving them the opportunity to form their own Fight Back auxiliary. Michael Levine's book, entitled Fight Back, is a compilation of prevention strategies used by various communities throughout the United States that have been interjected with Mr. Levine's personal experiences as a former DEA agent. Washington County was the first community to implement the Fight Back program in cooperation with local law enforcement agencies. Levine, while visiting Washington County, agrees that the war on drugs can be won.
The message is we can win the drug war, and there's simple tactics that can be used, but it's going to take the efforts of the community and law enforcement together.
Levine arrived in Washington County March 17th to show the community just what they could do to aid in this problem.
Convinced us and convinced our judges, and particularly the judges down here, that these people are victims. In essence, what this war on drugs and this concept of who the victim is has done is it has wreaked havoc with our communities. It has made life unlivable around the United States. And I've looked over the dispositions for the last 2 years in your courts here. And I want to tell you, like New York, crime pays here. I mean, if you have any initiative at all, you go into crime here, because the odds on you go out and sell drugs in this community, the odds are a quick thumbnail sketch of going through all the sheets that the police have sent me is you've got about a 1 or 2% chance of going to jail. So,
while here, Levine spoke to a number of community organizations, schools, and youth organizations, and he praised Greenville for its efforts.
That wants to take it on as a whole, and I think that's marvelous. I think the people in Greenville have a chance to actually make history.
After hearing Levine speak at a number of organizations while visiting here, a number of citizens here in Greenville decided that it was time to take a stand.
I like what the message he's bringing to our community is, taking the source off the streets. And
we can get his message to the people. I think that we can definitely get their support.
Well, what he's doing now is going around talking, and I hope he's motivating people like he did me and a lot of the other members of our church in particular. I know we're interested in this.
It's a bold step, but I believe it would work if everyone will work together to make it work.
It's everybody's lives, and for somebody to feel like that it's not going to ever affect them is totally off base.
In an overall community meeting at the Washington County Convention Center, Levine stressed that one of his strong points in his Fight Back program was to create an environment so hostile for the buying of drugs that the druggies would have to go elsewhere.
Go after the drug business like a business. You stop the buyer, you got no problem. You take one man spending $50,000 a year out of the drug economy, and you do more damage to the drug business than the $200 million we spent for absolutely nothing getting Manuel Noriega.
After his talk with the citizens of Greenville, it was time to get to work. The Anti-Drug Task Force was the coordinating and supporting agency for this project. The efforts of the individual communities was directed by Kirby Slayton, the Washington County Fight Back Program Director. After forming the Fight Back teams, they took direct actions, always within the limits of the law. Fight Back teams were also loaned equipment such as bullhorns, conventional and video cameras, handheld CBs, and radios.
Hit the street with video cameras and bullhorns, not to confront the dealers, but to aim them at the drug buyers. And that was enough. Drug buyers don't want to hassle.
Getting together for a common cause, but training and education had to play a part in this. Each chief of police of Washington County was the contact person to the anti-drug task force. An intensive recruiting campaign was conducted.
Made our point that there's no place for drugs in the community. It destroys lives of the children and the parents, you know. So we're trying to save the family by getting rid of drugs here in Greenville.
I think it went really well, and I think hands-on experience is what gives all of us the courage.
It'll stay clean and become a real source of community pride, and that's the name of the game, building community pride.
Time is over for drugs. Time is now for getting together and making your community what you want to be, not what the drug dealers want it to be.
Helping others to fight back. Businessman James Chow of Lucky's Food Store, located on Alexander Street in Greenville, was more than pleased when members of the Sacred Heart Social Concerns Committee gathered talented art students from the public school system to paint a mural over a gang graffitied wall at his business. He says since its completion, he's seen some changes.
Real pleased with it. It really keeps some of the youngsters out of the corner, out of this corner. Oh, it helped me a lot. And also this neighborhood too. Oh, it's more people coming in. Everybody talk about that. Real pleased with the sun on the wall, and keep all the youngsters off my corner.
I'm gonna put some positive, pictures up here. Bring to the youngsters that's growing up, so they won't be like the people of this society today. Because mainly this area right here is mainly a gang neighborhood, like the parks over here and everything. And what we're trying to do is bring this community back to a much better place.
Well, the Sacred Heart Social Concerns Committee, in conjunction with the Washington County Anti-Drug Task Force, the Greenville City Police Department, Fight Back, Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, is sponsoring this venture, and we hope to sponsor others. Our purpose is to show the community that we do have a wealth of talent among our young people, and that we can channel that talent in a positive direction.
Street by street, neighborhood by neighborhood, Fight Back teams will be formed until all Washington County is covered.
Safety, that's our number one concern, is that everybody will be safe and will be doing this within the limits of the law.
In the declaration of the Fight Back team, it touches on 8 important factors in the community. 1, the neighborhoods. They will create an atmosphere on the streets of our city that is as hostile and adverse as possible for the drug consumer. 2, the criminal justice system. To do all that is possible to ensure that all drug consumers arrested on our streets are prosecuted to the extreme limits of the law. 3, the media. To make sure that all drug arrests are well publicized and that the actions of law enforcement officials who are contrary to the goals of the Fight Back are also well publicized. 4, political. To ensure that all members of the community are registered voters and to seek the support of all forms of legislation aimed at making the law a deterrent to drug abuse. 5, law enforcement. Will take all actions possible to convince law enforcement authorities to direct the majority of their resources at combating the drug consumer in Greenville, as opposed to drug dealers. 6, to have liaisons with other organizations of citizens with goals and/or bylaws similar to ours. 7, schools, to maintain an active participation in our children's education and an aggressive vigilance over our community schools to ensure that our children are educated in a drug-free environment. 8, the youth. The organization will make a special effort in including and emphasizing the participation of our community's youth in all our activities. Michael Levine came to Washington County and created within this community a desire to do something to combat the drug problem in our community. Now it's up to us to keep the momentum going.
I've had several friends of mine that have said to me, after hearing Mr. Levine and talking about the Fight Back program, they say, okay, if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it.
Shifting the focus from the drug dealer to the drug consumer, we can win the war on drugs. When the demand for drugs no longer exists, the supply will relocate out of Washington County.
I would whisper love so loudly, every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all